Have you ever been in need of a desperate resupply? Materials running low? Maybe ammunition's running low too? Well, today you are in luck because we are building a resupply system. This resupply system is going to be quite a modular system, and we're going to use beacons at the heart of it. So it can resupply everything from ammunition, components, to even a vehicle if you needed it to. Now this is where the guide begins, so perhaps have your world open in the background and you can pause along as we build this AI system together. I'm going to let the AI run for the first time and just talk you through it. So we're here in the cockpit, AI is enabled, and I'm going to begin the sequence. And just to prove that it is AI doing this, I'm going to get myself out of this thing. So we have got the launch of the helicopter. Now this helicopter is chosen as a Chinook just to represent, you know, a transport aircraft or a transport ship. It needs to be able to have a heavy lift capacity to do something like this, especially if it's lifting larger rovers or a ton of supplies. So that's why I picked the Chinook. Plus it looks damn cool. So at that stage the rotors fold themselves out and it is moving on to the next AI task block. So the recorder block is triggered and it is now going to pick up this cargo container here. Now this cargo container has a beacon tucked inside it, just up there above. So wherever this cargo container is, the helicopter is going to be able to locate it and go and pick it up. And I'll show you that a little bit later on. Currently out in the field we've got one of our engineers who has placed a beacon with this little truck. Now these beacons are great and they're the best way to get supplies to your position. You could even just have the beacon attached to the truck if you wanted to, but I've got it on this little modular deployment device so we can drive away. So let's just park the truck up over here. I'm building a little bit of an AA installation out here, and here comes the cargo. So the helicopter is bringing it in all by itself because it's focused on bringing it towards that beacon's location. So this is another one of them recorder blocks, but it's recording motion around this particular beacon location. So what we're going to see here is it's going to drop the cargo container by unlocking it from underneath, and then it's going to land. And the reason that I got it to land is I wanted this to be quite modular. For instance, say the vehicle broke down or I just needed a pickup. If I had that beacon nearby, I could hop back on the helicopter and return to base. So let's bring my character over here. Have a bit of a closer look as it drops. There we go. Nice gentle drop. And then it moves to the other side of the beacon. And it should land, turn off its engines, and drop that rear ramp if everything goes well. It's so cool, this AI, isn't it? When you make it do something like this. This has probably took about 2 hours to set up, I'm not going to lie. Just walking myself through the process, finding the bugs in the AI, because sometimes you'll set a system up and it just won't want to go to one of the waypoints. So there we go. We have the helicopter ready. Let's tell this AI to return back to base. So I've got this big button here, and this is going to activate the return back to base sequence. It'll put the ramp up and it'll return us back to base. So there we go. And that'll be ready back at base for another supply run. So as that heads back to base, let's pick up our little beacon here. I'll teleport my character over. We're going to jump ourselves in this Humvee. And this is what I mean about the modular sort of nature of a system like this. Wherever this beacon is, wherever that supply crate is, the helicopter knows. And it can come back and collect them. Oh, hit the brakes, don't knock the beacon. Oof. There we go. We'll rip this over here, and then we'll lock it in place, and we'll head to another location. So anywhere we want that cargo crate and the helicopters come to, you can see the helicopter's just gone off in the distance there. It should be coming into land shortly. Let's lock that in. Rotate that back over. And there we go. And so this little modular beacon, wherever we put this, we're going to bring that supply crate. So let's actually bring it a little bit closer back to base, if we can. Or maybe we could bring it out somewhere else. Yeah, so the helicopter's coming into land. Let's just bring it over in this nice little clearing here. We'll reverse that, hit our brakes a little. Helicopter's going into land back at the base. And we have a new location where we want this beacon to be dropped at. So disconnect. Okay, move the Humvee out the way, and we can call it over the radio. There's the helicopter. We've got the AI, and we're not going to activate recorder task 1. That's the takeoff sequence. We're just going to ask it to come and pick the block up and bring it to us. So with a modular system like this, we can pick which one of them we want to do. Helicopter is launched back from base now, and it should be heading to collect that cargo container. There's a little Humvee there. It's flying quite fast. From doing a lot of testing with this particular AI, it's done really well. And you're probably wondering why the helicopter rotor blades ain't spinning. I tried to make them spin, but the AI couldn't account for the extra rotation. So something I'll have to look at in the future. So as it tries to come and pick this up, the way I've tried to make it always pick it up is place the AI recorder block right above where the magnets are, or where your connector would be, so it can be as precise as possible, because if the helicopter rotates or turns around, that'll still be the center. So as it comes in, it's going to get at least one magnet, hopefully. Yes, there we go. Bring me that crate to the new location. Yes, this reminds me a bit of CNC Generals, you know, when the helicopter would pick up them supply crates. So there we have it. The helicopter has brought the crate to a new location, and now it's going to attempt to land and see if I want to get aboard. The AI is just maneuvering itself, trying its best not to crash. Oh, it's a bit nerve-wracking. Watch that box. Oh, it always gets really tense on these landings. And it should land just in front of the beacon, and the tail position will drop down like that. So you can see the applications for this. This pallet could have everything on, from a rover, extra ammunition. There comes the little landing gate down. Perfect. And then we can hop aboard. So whatever I put on that pallet we can have. And there we go. Return to base. Take us home, helicopter. It's great. AI is really cool. So as we're getting this lovely flight back, this is the system that we're using. We're using this white block to do the launch sequence, this blue one to do the pickup sequence, the red one to do the drop-off sequence. We've got the landing one additionally on this little timer block here as well. And then we've got finally the RTB. So it is all a combination of the AI recorder and timer blocks. Super simple and straightforward. Let's have a look at them in a bit more detail when we come into land. So let's have a look at the blocks and what they do. Now this is quite a straightforward system, but still it took me a bit of time to set up, and it's going to take you a bit of time as well. So going into our control panel, we have ourselves the AI blocks. We've got 4 AI recorders and 1 AI flight module. Now this is on the helicopter. Out in the field we have 2 beacons, one on the supply box and we have one on the locator beacon. Right, so that's most of the blocks that we need out the way. Now this first AI flight is the basic configuration of how this grid is going to behave when it flies around. So we've got the AI behavior on, collision avoidance is off, because if we do pick up a crate with landing gears, it gets a bit worried thinking it's going to crash into it and the AI doesn't behave correctly. Precision mode will allow us to get exactly to them GPS coordinates. We have a speed limit of 100 because we want it to get to us as fast as possible. Minimum altitude is 0. This helps it land on the voxels without thinking it's going to crash. And then we've got a line to gravity. So we've got max pitch angles of 10 and max roll of 10 as well. So let's have a look at our first AI task. So this is our takeoff sequence. So it rolls out of the hangar, then it unfolds the rotor blades, and then at waypoint 2 it activates timer block 3. Now timer block 3 is quite simple. All this one does is activates the next AI recorder, that is the sequence to tell it to go and pick up the box, and it also activates our lift. So that allows us to get that nice scene where the helicopter rolls out of the hangar and then the upwards lift is activated that allows it to fly. So there you go, and it's also a little bit of a sneak peek of how you can make rovers kind of work. So after that's happened, let's go on to our next AI block. So this is the pick up the block. Now this is really easy. We're using a reference beacon here, the Cogsworth supply box. So it flies above that reference beacon, all set out, and then it just picks it up. Automatic locking of the landing gears does the rest of the work for us, and it activates timer block 4. Now going on to timer block 4, this is just activating the next sequence of events. So all it does is activates the next recorder. So the next recorder is the drop. So when we're talking about the drop, all it does is heads above to the location, disconnects it with the mag plates on the bottom, then it activates a timer block when it lands. Now this timer block when it lands is a little, well, it's not a little bit more complicated, it's exactly the same to be honest. This one just turns off the engine so it drops to the deck and then opens the cargo bay so we can run inside. So there we go. Then we have the RTB sequence. So this is our final AI task, and this one brings up the ramp. It then activates the RTB sequence to play on the recorder, and then it turns on our upwards thrust and it heads us back to base. So it's a really simple system, this, and as long as you keep moving both the beacon points on the cargo container and also the one out in the field, you can make it go anywhere you want it to go. So there you go, a cool little system. Hopefully I've helped you today. Let me know what you think of this and what you could use this for in the comment section below, and I will see you next time.